Hello, everyone, and welcome to the second episode of our podcast. My friends and I are back for another episode due to huge demand,
किसने मांगा?
mainly by me.
कोई जानता भी है हमें?
Yeah, we're very popular, dude. Okay,
हमारे
so
घर
mainly
वाले
by
ही नहीं
me
जानते क्या
because
क्या करे.
I kept badgering you guys to record another one. And oh, I found a name for the podcast, Vele. What do you guys think?
इतने ज़्यादा क्रिएटिव नहीं हो गए हम.
Hey, it
कुछ
took me some time to think about it. Don't make fun of it like this.
you, I think being Vele was implied. We didn't have to prove it by calling ourselves that.
Yeah,
Actually,
I'm pretty sure.
Arnav gave me the idea when he kept
शाबाश.
saying Vele in the last podcast. He said, "No, we are pretty Vele."
ए तू
So I
किसी
said,
अच्छी चीज से इंस्पायर हुआ करना, ये सब के नॉनसेंस चीज पिक करता है मेरी.
अबे ये केला ब्लेंडर में डाल के खाता है ये. इसकी बात क्या
सही
मान
में?
रहे हो?
Seriously, what is?
मतलब वेले, बट ठीक है, श्योर, अभी के लिए चलता है.
okay, so let's get into it already. We will be talking about the movie Gulabo Sitabo starring Amitabh Bachchan and Ayushmann Khurrana mainly. And it is directed by Sujit Sirkar, whose previous movies have been things like Vicky Donor, Madras Cafe, Piku, Pink, and others. So I had pretty high expectations for this one. Actually, what about you guys?
सेम.
पीकू बहुत अच्छी थी यार. तो after
Yeah,
पीकू you have high expectations only.
You
and
know,
I think all
when
his movies are very simple and they're like to the point. I mean, they're always giving you a good message and they're entertaining you.
They're
I
all below
expect
the
the
waist.
same.
All movies are below the waist. विक्की डोनर, पीकू में और इसमें भी सब कुछ वहीं पे चल रहा होता है.
no, no, but like Vicky Donor was good. Madras Cafe was I liked Madras Cafe.
Yeah.
ए वेट,
Piku,
which one is मद्रास कैफे? ये कौन सी मूवी है?
John Abraham movie. He's in the movie. It's about the
Oh, I
Yeah.
thought you're talking about Ayushmann Khurrana.
no,
My
no.
mate.
Okay, sorry,
Madras
continue.
Cafe is Sujit Sikar's direction.
Hmm.
शुजित सरकार को तो शुजित क्या बोल रहे बे? वहाँ पर
Sujit.
शुजित. तो कभी बंगाल में किसी के सामने मत जाइयो. बट ओके,
No,
कंटिन्यू
कुछ
कर.
नहीं. So, so what did you guys expect from this movie then?
I thought it'll entertain me, and like I said, it would be simple, but this movie put me to sleep 3 times. It took me 3 different tries to finish this movie. That's summary of too slow, absolutely too.
I, I go Amrit.
यार ओके, वेरी ऑनेस्टली आई वाज जस्ट आई केप्ट लुकिंग फॉर द पॉइंट ऑफ इट, लाइक अभी शुरू होगा, अभी कुछ होने वाला है, स्पेशली बिकॉज ऑफ द डायरेक्टर एंड द पर्सन हु involved in it. I genuinely was expecting a point, and when they revealed the point, it was the first time I saw a movie of his and went, यार सही में इस पे तुमने पूरी पिक्चर बना दी. This should have been the 15-20 minute first arc of the movie before something else happens. That's what I felt for the first time in this guy's movie. So yeah.
The
Arnav?
movie didn't show growth.
Oh,
Sorry if
okay.
I was
No, no.
like your character didn't develop at all, right?
Yeah, growth been यार. It was not even funny after a while. They were doing the same thing
Yeah, that's one
repeatedly.
criticism I have. That I feel like it was trying at certain points to be try to be funny, but it was didn't feel funny. It didn't make me
यार
laugh
वो भी
most of the
इमेजिन
time.
कर, they were able to release this during the lockdown. सब वेल लोग के मूवी देख रहे थे यार. अगर तुम लॉकडाउन की डेस्परेशन में हमें एंटरटेन नहीं कर सकते, then my god.
Yeah, I
I
thought there'd
think
be people will be must be very hungry for entertainment right now because
नहीं
there's
नहीं,
nothing to do.
but Amrit, movie was shot before lockdown, so
That's
they
also
just
true.
released it right now.
so that sucks even more for them कि उससे पहले ही तुमने बकवास मूवी बनाई थी
No,
और
but
और
I
बना
think
दी lockdown में.
I think yeah, definitely काफी slow थी movie, but it had some good points. Like I don't know, like उन्होंने, मुझे पता नहीं इसका context क्या है, so I was reading about it कि वो जो the reason they named it Gulabo Sitabo was because India में वो puppet shows नहीं होते.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It has some reference from उससे. I think even though इसलिए उन्होंने throughout the movie they kept showing those puppets. I don't know if you noticed it.
No,
Yeah.
but throughout the movie, I thought it was like in the first scene and then the
First
ending.
and the last scene is when I noticed it. I didn't notice
Yeah,
it
I
anywhere
never
else.
noticed it. I don't think
Yeah,
they
मैंने
showed
भी,
it anywhere.
मुझे
I
भी
mean,
याद नहीं है. I just read it somewhere.
I think it's basically like the property and the greed is controlling. So these guys like Amitabh Bachchan and some of the tenants were the puppets, and the puppeteer would be the greed or the properties. right?
Okay, so
Hoy, hoy. I didn't think of it that at all. I just was like,
actually, I never thought
no.
of it that, but Kevin, I wanted to hold on to that because I want to talk about this after my breakdown of the movie in more detail. So, you guys, so would you guys like? Did you guys like it? Actually,
Nahi, no for me.
One time watch.
nah, Arnav's paid
I
people
would
want
not
to watch.
recommend anyone for even one time watch. It's too slow.
है इंटरनेट पे बहुत
I
सामान है भाई बहुत
I
चीजें देखने को
I would agree that it was the pacing was not good. I felt in the whole story.
यार
Like I
नहीं
was so
It's
disinterested in points, but
नहीं भाई तू एक बात देखना इसकी हर मूवी जो तूने मूवीज का नाम लिया है विक्की
yeah.
डोनर और मैं विक्की डोनर और पीकू के बारे में बोल रहा हूँ इट इज नॉट लाइक हर सीन में एक थ्रिलर या कुछ हो रहा है बट इट वाज स्टिल मीनिंगफुल इनफ टू कीप यू एंगेज्ड इस मूवी के पहले 25 मिनट के बाद जब मुझे रियलाइज हुआ कि देयर एंटायर थिंग इज गोइंग टू बी द प्रॉपर्टी थिंग ओनली एंड आई विल नॉट रिवील इट टू ब्रेक डाउन कर लिया बाद में
Mhm.
that is when that's the difference right this guy has given us slow movies in the past और हमें कोई दिक्कत नहीं थी क्योंकि तुम रिलेटेबल था ये एक पहले 20-25 मिनट के बाद तुम सेम ही इमोशन को 6 बार लूप में ले जाओगे until the 2 hour mark that is what this felt like. The same thing. That's why when Kevin says 3 बार सो गया, I would agree because पीकू या तू विक्की डोनर देख उनके सीन भी तो ऐसे ही थे स्लो मूवीज थी बीच में लोग गालियां दे रहे हैं ये वो कर रहे हैं इट्स नॉट लाइक कोई ओवर ग्रेट प्लॉट था उनमें मेरे मुताबिक बट
But
इट वाज स्टिल एंटरटेनिंग इनफ टू कीप यू हुक्ड दिस वाज वेरी बोरिंग
but I just want
Yeah,
to
if
let
you compare
Shrikar
this movie
know.
to Piku, sorry.
No, no, can continue. I was going to make a
No,
stupid point anyway.
if you cannot compare this movie to Piku, yeah, I mean definitely वो सारी movies are way better. But this is not bad either. I mean, yeah, ठीक है, not as good as previous ones, but still works.
I think it's that our expectation, like at least mine, because I know his work. I've followed his work.
Yeah.
Like October is one I wanted to watch, but I never watched it until yet. But I know that his previous work has been good.
बहुत अच्छी मूवी है यार वो मुझे बड़ी पसंद
Yeah,
थी
I've heard
But I
that it's
think there
very
were positives, right? I think the only positive I could note from this was uh like the acting was pretty good, like from Amitabh Bachchan.
Yeah, Kevin, you went into my next point. I was going to ask you guys about the acting. Amitabh Bachchan's acting is this like the show stealer for me. The way he's walking, the way he's talking, everything is really good.
But मुझे एक बात समझ में नहीं आया कि वो उसको वैसा look क्यों दिया था? What's the
That's what
point
I
of
was
that
about. What
look?
was the point of the prosthetic nose? I also think like
ये वो कार्टून कैरेक्टर लग रहा था मोर देन एनीथिंग एल्स बट वंस यू गेट ओवर इट आई गेस इट वाज ही डिड
Because I
क्वाइट
don't think it was adding any value. At least मुझे समझ में
अगेन लाइक
maybe
मे बी देयर वाज सम डीप मीनिंग जो इतना डीप था कि हम में से किसी को समझ नहीं आया
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
Maybe it's
pretty sure maybe there was.
Pinocchio. He lies a lot. He was lying a lot to get the property, so his
भाई
nose is.
दैट वुड बी वेरी लो हैंगिंग फ्रूट बट if that is what they're going for then I guess वही है
शुरजीत सरकार का इतने बुरे दिन नहीं आए अभी तक. I don't think.
But one interesting point was कि I mean greed, which is usually very common theme young लोगों में, right? This was they showed a character who's end of his life in a way, और वो still अभी भी वो greed के चक्कर में क्या क्या कर रहा है. So that was fascinating.
But like for you guys, who's like the best actor in this
दोनों
movie?
बहुत अच्छे थे यार दोनों बहुत अच्छे थे आयुष्मान
I
और
think,
Yeah,
अमिताभ
hard to
बच्चन
pick.
या
I
I
like
think
both of them.
for me it was Amitabh Bachchan completely. Ayushmann Khurrana, I think I'm just seeing him mostly do the same roles again, even though he had like a lisp, I think, in this movie.
Yeah,
He was
I was
speaking.
about to say the lisp is what kind of made it more challenging, probably.
Yeah, that's probably. But otherwise, I feel like his movies have been same, even though he made incredible movies like Andhadhun, all these like Badai Ho is really good. Even Dream Girl was really good, actually.
Hmm.
यार
But I feel like his characters are mainly very similar all throughout.
he's the small town relatable guy
Yeah,
because I think that's his actual personality as well. But for someone who's a complete outsider, भाई, I am very happy कि उसे कोई भी movie मिले. I don't care वो same role 10 बार करे. He does a good job whenever he gets a chance,
no,
in my
I think his
definitely.
opinion.
choices are really good. वो
His
जो
choices
भी
are
scripts,
amazing.
yeah.
It's like
कौन
I
लास्ट
can
कौन सी
compare
थी
him to
अंदर
Amir
अंदर
Khan.
इसकी लास्ट मूवी कौन सी थी
I think
वो
Dream
बाल
Girl.
Bala, Bala,
Oh wait, yeah, Bala.
हाँ
Bala was
बाला
his
नहीं
last
देखी मैंने
It,
one. Bala भी
he's
Bala
ठीक
not
also
है.
bad
had
either.
Yeah, I like Bala as well. And to be honest, like I really admire his work because if you look at the senior actors now, they're just making one masala movie over the other, and that's all. They don't even diversify. Whereas this actor who's in the growing stage should probably do everything and that comes to it, but he's still choosing his project. Admirable.
Yeah, I think आयुष्मान खुराना, अक्षय कुमार recently इन दोनों का जो track रहा है blowing for past couple of years.
Yeah, definitely.
नहीं
Much
Well,
better
Akshay
than
Kumar
like
has
all
made.
all the
नहीं, अक्षय कुमार का काफी अलग है भाई इससे तो। इसका काफी
Ak-
बहुत स्पेसिफिक टाइप के वो है। अक्षय कुमार स्टिल मास मूवी बनाता है ऑफ अ वेरी डिफरेंट सेंस, यू कुड
yeah,
no,
I
Akshay
was
Kumar is
about to
obviously a
say.
much नहीं नहीं but if you look at his
No,
movies जो उसने try किए like for example Airlift, वो Batman, these are not like masala movies
No, no,
for a
no.
big
I'm
star.
remove
Yeah, he
the
makes a
word
mix.
remove the term masala, but they are still mass movies.
no, but that every movie, Akshay Kumar movie, will be a mass movie. I
No, no,
don't
Yeah,
think
I
that
mean
no, no.
anything.
That's my point. I'm not even saying that like that. That's a bad thing. But I'm saying still he's still Akshay Kumar. Ayushman के लिए too with when he's still more like वो इस level उस obviously he's not at that he hasn't achieved the fame as slash money or production power of those people. For him to still choose movies यार उसके 2019 की movies देख लो यार. Article 15, Dream Girl, Bala.
Oh, Article 15 was good as well.
By imagine na, those are three very diverse roles for one person to do when you aren't as backed. उसके एक साल पहले अंधाधुन बधाई हो, like he's doing movies that are completely like left field on all sense if you ask me.
I think yeah but I think eventually he will different career path है दोनों के obviously but like ये अगर superstar बन जाता है तो ना he will be like Akshay Kumar. Some that's why I'm trying to compare इन दोनों को because
अच्छा
even Akshay Kumar
वैसे
का yeah I mean you
ओके
cannot
ओके
say
ओके
क्योंकि अक्षय कुमार has to उसको business लाना है box office पे he has a responsibility. आयुष्मान खुराना doesn't have that responsibility. He can
yeah eventually you're correct absolutely अगर हमें पता नहीं कि I don't know if it will be the exact same track but yes
yeah
it could be वो
similar because like even Akshay Kumar can do जैसे उसने केसरी की थी. Have you guys seen केसरी?
No, I haven't seen Kesari. I've heard it's
Actually
okay.
देखना.
Though. It's nothing.
No, it's actually really good. देखना केसरी. Like
Okay.
वो केसरी type movie करता है. Then he does बहुत ही फालतू movie like Good News. Good
Good news, I
message.
watched in cinema. Good news, I watched in
This is
cinema.
so bad.
Say that
I
Diljit
mean,
I,
was. Diljit is the best in that movie. I have to say, bro.
yeah, hands down.
He's funny. He's funny in that movie.
yeah
And
I
then
mean,
उससे भी चूतिया movie
he's
he did
acting.
Houseful.
जब मूवी के टाइटल में जेड आता है ना एंड में भाई तब समझ आया कि भाई टशन है गुड न्यूज
Okay, we
गुड
are going
न्यूज
way off topic now.
Yeah.
So everyone, you guys think both of the Amitabh Bachchan and Ayushmann Khurrana did an amazing job.
I think
शाबाश
yeah, and plus I don't remember her name. आयुष्मान खुराना की क्या मुझे रिलेशनशिप भी नहीं पता. वो
Sister.
जो बड़ी वाली लड़की थी उनके
हाँ उसने
Yeah,
तगड़ा
the
गैंग
रोल
में.
तगड़ा
The
What's
रोल
her
किया
name?
sister,
उन्होंने।
the elder
Yeah,
sister.
yeah. I think she did a great job.
Yeah, she had a good.
Even though small part, but she was impactful.
और उनका नाम
I
बोलना
can't
चाहिए यार
forget the
उन्होंने
name,
she-
but yeah, we should
Yeah,
shout her out.
unfortunately,
Tina Bhatia? No.
बाप
What was
ये
the
तो क्या
sister's
ये
name? I don't even know. I'm
ये
I
looking.
mean,
I'm actually looking online.
multiple choice खेलना है तो खेल सकते हैं, but yeah.
Wait, I shall figure this out.
हाँ पर तू नेक्स्ट
But
टॉपिक पे तो जाना भाई हम फिगर आउट
yeah,
करते हैं तो
then I'm gonna go and move on. Okay, so now I'm gonna go and just go through the breakdown of the whole thing,
Oh
and
wait,
then
sorry.
we'll
One more point. In
yeah,
terms of acting, Fatima, what's वो
the
क्या
Begum.
Begum,
Yeah.
dude,
ओके
that was crazy. I mean, उसकी उनकी age के लिए it's pretty good.
Her name was Fatima in the movie.
I don't know. मुझे लगा मैंने इसलिए बोल दिया फातिमा. I might
No,
be
I,
wrong.
I couldn't figure out. I'm like, when did it in the movie? They just said Begum, Begum. So I was like,
Yeah.
Begum is
I
not a
think it was
name.
no no.
It's
I
like a
think
love.
I think it's Fatima Begum.
फातिमा बेगम
Yeah, इसलिए मुझे
Okay, yeah,
फातिमा
then
लगा.
yeah, because at the end they have her name written on the cake. Okay, I'm moving too forward at the end. Okay,
The elder sister's name is Guddu. We can refer to Guddu.
good do. Yeah, she was good. She was good. She did good acting. What's the actress?
सृष्टि
The
श्रीवास्तव सृष्टि श्रीवास्तवा
Oh,
गली बॉय
she's
में भी
Okay.
थी अपेरेंटली
Oh, is it?
हाँ
Wow.
अपेरेंटली
नोटिस ही नहीं किया.
no.
शाबाश अर्नब। मैंने तो नोटिस ही नहीं किया आपको पिक्चर में, आप थे तब भी। हाँ बट बोल भाई, तुम ब्रेक डाउन कर।
Okay, so now I'm going to do the breakdown. So I'm going to go with the movie starts. You guys just give your input whenever.
यस
If you
सर।
want to talk about a scene, just stop me. I'll stop.
No,
So the movie
basically, we should
starts
have done
off.
this in the beginning.
We should
छोड़
have,
रहा
but I
है।
wanted your initial impressions. Afterwards, we'll go into more detail. I have more questions for you guys to answer.
Cool.
So the movie starts off with us being introduced to Mirza, Amitabh Bachchan's character, unscrewing light bulbs and hosting a puppetry show to get money. And we find him to be kind of a money-minded, greedy person, at least with his interaction with the other people at this time. Then we
Yeah,
follow him home and get introduced to a few characters like his wife and other residents, but the main one being Ayushmann Khurrana's character, Banki, na?
yeah, Banki
Banki
Rastogi.
Rastogi. And we can see from the start that maybe him and Mirza do not get along. We get a deeper look into the life of Banki by seeing that he lives with his three sisters and mother and is struggling to make money for the family. So the who is the mother didn't have much of a role, na? I can't remember many scenes of her.
Yeah. I,
I
मेरे को
remember
याद
the
भी
It
scene
नहीं
was
with the
mainly the
microwave.
oh yeah, that was pretty funny actually.
Yeah,
One of the funny scenes from it. So then we also learn the Banki and some other characters are renting rooms in Mirza and his wife's mansion, which I'm guessing now Fatima is the name. I didn't know. And that Banki has also not paid 3 months worth of rent. We also find out that the official owner of the mansion is actually Fatima, Mirza's wife. And we get hints that Mirza is waiting for the day his wife passes away to get control of said mansion. And then in the next couple of scenes, we see Banki having a secret romance and sharing his negative feelings towards the mansion he is living in and his problems of not having enough money to get married and support his family. The girlfriend angle was not much in the movie, actually.
there's no point to it.
I think,
दैट
yeah, there was no
एग्जैक्टली
point.
व्हाट केविन, केविन ने जो बोला वही, लाइक
But why include like a girlfriend angle,
देयर आर लॉट्स ऑफ वाइज इन दिस मूवी।
I mean, I
actually? But
guess they
it
can
just,
just see that the character had needs. They wanted to show that.
mm, yeah, it just, it just didn't feel worth it. It just felt, I don't know what was planned. Maybe it got cut out and put in deleted scenes. You never know.
शाबाश। पर
I
वो
think that's basically the main problem with the movie, right? Like I still feel that the whole movie can be completed in like 20 minutes. There's nothing of or
A
extraordinary.
20-minute movie.
भाई वो ज्यादा इंटरेस्टिंग होती है, शॉर्ट फिल्म बना लेते हैं इस नाम की।
Exactly.
यार इतनी बुरी नहीं थी मूवी है तुम तो लिटरली इसको
Yeah, I don't think it was bad, but it wasn't.
अच्छा,
It was boring.
अरे
It
हमें
was pretty
लगी
boring.
बोरिंग तो बस क्या कर सकते हैं हम, जीवे।
No,
नहीं
no,
नहीं आई
you're
मीन
I mean,
wrong. Wrong.
if you look at the progression of the movie, the he was looking for the property, fine, and then he had to find his relatives, fine, and that's it. Like that, and then he gets screwed over. That's the very rough estimate of the movie. That can be completed in 20 minutes. Like the amount of detail they went through was unnecessary.
But I just want to mention that Sujit Sirkar is a regular listener of our podcast. I don't want him to get offended. So Sujit Bhai, do not get offended. We need
सर दादा हमने आपकी पुरानी मूवीज में बड़ी पसंद आई थी।
we
Yeah,
actually like
बहुत
your work.
पिंक पिंक के एंड में जब वो सीन चल रहा था एकदम, अब तो इमोशनल हो गए थे। इसमें समझ भी नहीं आया कि सीन क्या हो रहा है इसमें। सॉरी दादा।
yeah.
You're
Even I got
actually a very
inspired to
good
be like
director.
Vicky Donor.
No,
But then I
Vicky Donor.
realized that I was not a
काले
Aryan,
अपना
so I should skip
काले
that.
Pardon.
अ, देख, दिस इज द गोल्ड यू गेट व्हेन यू आस्क क्वेश्चंस काले, समझ आए।
Such way. Very introspective answers. So anyway, while that is happening, Mirza starts coming up with ideas to get his money out of Banki by trying to raise the rent charges, charge him with parking fees, and more, but always fails to extract it from him. And in between, there are scenes of Mirza selling other items of the mansion for money, such much to his wife's dismay. So we see him like selling chandeliers and everything, also taking money from his wife. I think from was that jewelry box? I can't.
वो चुरा रहा था ना, and he takes pagav. I mean, he takes
No,
what
I
is the
think
word
she leaves
for?
pocket money.
Ah, pocket money. He takes pocket money from her, right?
Yeah, yeah, pocket money. One thing they really stress is that show how like money minded he is. They continuously stress on that, which was good. I felt, but like the scenes were good. Amitabh Bachchan acted really well. Like whenever he heard like a lot of money, like when he heard like I can't remember how much was it, 5 lakh, and he always faints whenever he hears a big amount of money, kind of thing. He
I
That
think
was
that's
stumbles.
what
funny
they're
though.
trying
Yeah.
to show, na, कि like
That was
small
funny.
town mentality is so easy to destroy. एक तरीके से, what is huge for them is probably something that's why they're conned so easily. उनको कोई भी बड़ी चीज बोल दो, वो इतनी आसानी से अमेज हो जाएंगे that उसके आगे जो होता है किसी को पता नहीं लगेगा.
No, 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 that I found his acting very good in those scenes. Like he's stumbling, and then everyone's like, Mirza uncle, आप ठीक हो?" And then
मैं
like,
वो बोलूं, by the end, the last time it happened, I was like, यार कितनी बार होगा ये?
it got very funny.
कितनी बार गिरोगे अंकल?
But I
Yeah,
like his
initially it
reaction.
was funny.
So the next scene, like Kevin, you said, the microwave scene is quite funny because we see Banki and his family avoid paying rent by means of lying and faking about their conditions. Like the sister, the smaller sister being sick, and they're faking like they have nothing to eat, and then there's biryani in the microwave. So
The,
obviously this angers Mirza, and he decides to cut the power in the mansion completely.
It was again, yeah, that was one of the funnier scenes of the movie,
It
I
was
guess.
funny. It
Yeah.
was funny.
I think
So
that
this,
might be that's where they're trying to like kind of portray a really like a real life situation, right? That's probably what happening, and we're probably not getting exposed to that.
so if it was a real life situation, who do you think is in the right actually?
I I would say I don't know. It's too difficult because there's someone who's trying to screw you over. If I was a landlord and someone has money but they're not paying it, I would feel
क्योंकि एक तरफ एक गरीब है, it depends on who you are, right? If you are the landlord, you will feel you are justified. If you are the tenant, you will feel you are justified. तू क्या
That
करेगा पैसे का?
that's
गाला
what I
गलते
guess
क्यों?
the good job of this movie that they made both of them seem like. But I understand why he's doing it, and I understand why he's doing it. Like they
That is
both have that.
something he does in all his movies, na? Like
Yeah, he does
perspectives
it really
दिखाना
well.
is what makes his movies so good. Like October, which was I think the last one I saw of his, is precisely that.
and you
Piku,
know what?
everything.
This movie
Piku.
is very
Okay.
relatable to real life. So probably, I mean, not for us, but like I'd like to know the opinion for like maybe I don't know how to term it. Like maybe
Don't term
someone
it.
who's in the situation, like like who are not that
हाँ,
well
I
off or
assume it's
something.
pretty common in India because ये तो I think as you said right, दोनों characters इसमें grey दिखाए. It's not black and white anyway. So I assume it's a pretty common scenario in majority of Indian states. क्योंकि
भाई बहुत
tenant और
kids. Yeah, tenant and landlord equation.
Oh, 100%.
relationship has always been controversial
My
in
family's
majority
had
of the.
problems in
Yeah,
in the
same,
past.
same. My family has problems. So
One thousand
और I
percent.
think और उसमें जो बैंटर दिखाया दोनों के बीच में, I think मुझे अच्छा लगा वो. I think that's what they इन हिस्टोरिकली मैंने पढ़ा है, मुझे नॉलेज नहीं थी, मैंने कहीं
See,
पढ़ा
the
कि
banter is
पपेट
where
शोज
I
ऐसे ही होते थे.
oh, the banter is where
Like
I have
they were
problems, but
Gulabo
I'll
and
address
Sitabo were two two puppets and they always basically fight on the same thing throughout the puppet show, वो पूरा show के. So I think they have taken that reference वहाँ से, and it's a pretty old puppet show from somewhere in Uttar Pradesh ऐसा कुछ. That's what I read. So it was quite fascinating in that context कि वो दोनों literally same चीज पे और बहुत ही basic jokes मारते हैं. It's not like some over the top jokes. I think we are used to it now because of movies और ऐसा, but I think these are pretty practical jokes for them. When real life में you're not making jokes जो आप movies में देखते हो. So वो एक अच्छा लगा कि काफी बहुत ही subtle से jokes है सब दोनों के.
So you think we saw a realistic puppet show?
That's what the whole point was जहाँ तक मुझे समझ में आ रहा है
yeah,
after reading that article.
but I feel like they should have put one of those more puppet scenes in between the movies, so it was obvious that they're trying to.
So I mean yeah, तुम दोनों जो I think starting में दिखाया है in the end में दिखाया, I don't remember
Yeah.
बीच का कुछ if we missed it.
No, I'm 100% sure Beach Me because I've got it like
And by the way
written
movie
out.
का logo भी same if you haven't noticed.
मुझे लोगो बिल्कुल याद नहीं है भाई. लोगो के अंदर भी कोई हिंट है?
Not hint.
What is the logo? Now I'm going to भाई इसमें तो ये दोनों एक साथ बैठे हैं, तो is that the two puppets? Is
नहीं
that
I
it?
think याद है वो वो स्टार्टिंग में आता है आई थिंक जो लोगो बोलते हैं, क्या बोलते हैं यार
on,
जब मूवी पे?
like on the thumbnail on Prime Video. I think that's what he saw.
आई थिंक सो, या आई थिंक वो ये जो भी बोलते हैं उसको थंबनेल,
ओके, ओके।
वो देखना एक बार जाके। आई थिंक इट्स लाइक
नहीं, मैं अभी
टू
जा रहा हूँ
puppets who
देखने।
are just trying to, yeah.
Okay, moving on. This back and forth continues, and we eventually see Banki take his frustration out while waiting to go to the bathroom by kicking the wall down unintentionally. Mirza immediately tries to make Banki pay for the damages, but Banki refuses, which causes Mirza to lock all the bathrooms in the mansion. Which, how the hell did they go to bathroom if he locked all the bathrooms in the mansion? Man?
I,
आजकल वो स्पेशली वैसे
Problem.
गाँव में बड़ा आसान होता है, दरवाजे खुले बंद का कोई ज़्यादा फ़र्क नहीं पड़ता।
But ये लोग गांव में नहीं है. These
I
guys
mean,
must be
just
living in the
find a
corner of the house only.
ओके, ओके,
just
ओके,
walk to the
वैसे।
bushes on the railway line.
केविन जस्ट केविन तू किस गाँव में लास्ट बार गया है जहाँ पे रेलवे स्टेशन इतना पास था कि तुम सुबह-सुबह जोर का हगने है तो वहाँ तक चल के जाओगे?
I'm just thinking of me running that line. I'm just about to explode and I'm
अबे
running to
हाँ,
the
यू
railway
विल
line.
तू इंटरनली भी एक्सप्लोड करेगा और दूर से गाड़ी आके मार के निकल जाएगी। दोनों होगा तेरे साथ। सही में ना? हाँ, केविन वहाँ पे फ़ोन पे बार्सिलोना न्यूज़ पढ़ रहा होगा।
And to be honest, I have a feeling I won't be able to sit in the squatting position. That is another problem altogether.
तो लोटा क्या यूज करेगा बे?
फ़ोन ये स्मार्टफ़ोन यूज़ करेगा। ये स्मार्टफ़ोन यूज़ करेगा।
केविन कितना खुश है ना इस टॉपिक पे।
He started it. He should be happy.
अरे! कोई एक बार टट्टी कह दे भाई को फ़ील आ जाती है। है ना? वही वाली बात।
Uh, so after a scene where Banki shifts Mirza's bed while he is sleeping on it to the streets, all the tenants and Mirza go to the police to voice their complaints. But the police officer tells them that he is unable to do anything in these matters. Then we
मतलब
see an archaeologist.
बेसिकली ही इज़
Yeah,
अ नॉर्मल पुलिस वाला।
yeah, very useful, very helpful.
मैं नहीं करने वाला कुछ।
Yeah, exactly. And then we see an archaeologist by the name of Ganesh. It's with a
भाई
Y. Ganesh,
No, I think
played by
it's
Vijay
Ganesh,
Raj.
yeah.
Ganesh, played by Vijay Raj, who's actually done a lot of movies, like side acting. He's really, I like his
बहुत
work. Really
बहुत तगड़ा
funny.
एक्टर है,
He's a
बहुत
very good
It's
actor.
Ganesh, right?
Ganesh, yes, Ganesh,
ज्ञानेश शुक्ला।
Ganesh Shukla. Yeah, yeah, he's a very good. He was in Dreamgirl. He was hilarious in that as well.
भाई वो बंदा 20 साल से एक्टिंग कर रहा है, आज तक बेचारे को यही वाले रोल मिलते हैं, बट जो करता है ढंग से करता है।
I
Which
think
is good,
he got
right?
caught in Dubai for drugs at one point.
कौन से ड्रग्स?
But he didn't share it with me, so I have no. But I think if I might be wrong. I'm sorry, Vijay Raj, sir, if I'm wrong. But
ये आकाश बोल ऐसे रहा है जैसे इसका ऑडिशन चल रहा है
yeah,
अभी।
yeah, yeah. You never know, man. If we make it big time in this podcast, you never know
Yeah,
who
he
will be
was held on for drug charges when he returned from Abu Dhabi.
हाँ, इस, इस,
देखो.
इसमें टशन में तूने वो सर्च मार लिया है।
I have
मतलब
my background checkers here, Kevin. Good work.
Yeah.
So
I
I
mean, it's
wasn't wrong.
420 somewhere.
I I retract my statement of sorry. So
शाबाश।
basically, Ganesh overhears this discussion with the police officer and becomes interested in the mansion. He meets Banke and later on Mirza as well, and tries to gather information on the mansion by inspecting it. And when asked why he was doing this, he replies, because he is in archaeology.
आर्कियोलॉजी।
Yes, you heard that correctly. He
Archaeology.
said it. I am archaeology.
Oh, okay, that's what.
ओह! ऐसे तू भी जोक मार रहा था और वो भी जोक मार रहा था।
It was trying to be a joke. He is
मैं
archaeology.
आई वाज़ कन्फ्यूज़्ड कि लाइक ये आकाश को क्या हो गया?
See, those are the
Kevin,
things I feel that went
no,
over my head. Like I didn't feel that interested to like analyze it that much.
अबे पिक्चर देखने के बाद अगर किसी को कोई लिख के भी तुम्हें बताए और तुम्हें तब भी हँसी नहीं आई तो मतलब ओवर द हेड
then he's
का कोई
interested
पॉइंट
in
नहीं है।
So then
Yes.
Gyanesh then leaves the mansion after his inspection and still remains very vague and tells Mirza to expect a letter, which confuses him. Right? It confused him, or did he always know? That's what I didn't understand at that point. That this guy is like coming for the mansion.
I don't think उसका कुछ समझ आया था end तक.
Yeah, it looked like, yeah. Then okay, so later
हाँ,
on,
they
Mirza
showed
visit,
him very
huh?
काफी नाइव दिखाया उस मिर्जा
Yeah,
को.
they showed him like, I mean, apart from the sister, the eldest sister, none of them understood what was going on properly. Like they were being taken
Yep.
advantage of or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so later
Sister
on, Mirza,
and Begum.
yeah, Begum turned out okay. Let's wait for that. Later on, Mirza visits a lawyer called Christopher, who specializes in getting houses vacated and nabbed. An additional fact is that Christopher speaks English at home and eats only lunch and dinner. I thought you guys would be interested in that because he says it very emphatically.
Yeah, what is the point of that? I don't know if they were trying to be funny, they were trying to
I
just add
think it was
to this
some
character.
comedy element because I don't know what was the point, but I just he says it in there. So the
That's
lawyer hears
exact.
Mirza's story and tells Mirza to find out about any other living relatives of his wife to make sure no one can make a claim on the property apart from Mirza. Moving
शाबाश.
forward, yeah, moving forward, we see Banki going to meet Ganesh at his office to find out why he came to visit. Banki finds out that the archaeology office plans to seize the property and declare it a government-owned heritage site, as the mansion has some historic value. But if it is declared a government site, all of the tenants will be evicted, which sucks, especially. But how old do you think? When do you think this movie is set in? 30 rupees for rent at that time? I don't know which year it's set in. They don't even explain it,
And
I don't
see
think.
that
No, it's the
rent
current
by
year.
number is rent by number seems very less, but based on the technology and all shown in the phone, based on what the rich people had, I think it's quite present day.
Yeah, but to imagine
No,
30
but
rupees. Yeah.
no, but he
I
said that they have been trying to increase the rent for years together. So,
But even
and
the
this
other
guy's,
tenants were 70 like rupees.
yeah,
There was
so these tenants were really sad from leaving like that place, right? That shows that they have been growing up in that very place for years together. So you're looking at like 50s, 40s, and 30 rupees at that time is a huge amount.
That's my
So
thing now. We don't know if it's set in the past or is it like present time. Like Amrit said, looking at the technology and everything, it seems to be present.
भाई वो
no,
अमीर
it
लोग
is
वो
present.
वो अमीर लोग स्मार्टफोन यूज कर रहे थे तो आई थिंक.
No, no, it is present. It's just that that's why Amitabh Bachchan was complaining about the fact that the like people are telling him that 30 rupees is not enough and like the current rate is like
Yeah,
500 or
yeah,
so.
I missed that part. That his friend was Amitabh Bachchan had a friend, his character Mirza's character. Mirza had a friend telling him to do this, do that.
Exactly. So
Hmm.
30 rupees was from the past. 30 rupees back in the day was very big. Not
True, true. So after that, we see some supposed to be funny scenes of Banki fooling Mirza to think that there may be gold hidden in the foundations of the mansion. Then
शाबाश.
in the scene, yeah, this scene didn't hit at all for me. It just
Yeah,
I
this is
knew what he
where
was trying to do, but
this is the point where I started hitting myself fully. क्या कर रहा हूँ, क्या देख रहा हूँ.
yeah, I share that sentiment.
yeah.
Then in the scene after, we see Banki gathering all the tenants to meet with Ganesh to discuss vacating the property to his government department and claims that the government will provide compensation in the form of alternative accommodation.
भाई यहाँ पे उसकी बहन के जो सीन थे काफी अच्छे थे. This
Yeah, yeah,
part
what
of
she
the movie में these are the scenes which were actually to me entertaining because where I think there's like a 20-minute window where she takes over because by then I can't even blame Ayushmann and Amitabh Bachchan but their scene was just being repeated. मैं ये करूँगा तू ये करेगा मैं and I get it अगर वो पूरा गुलाबो सिताबो मोटिव पे चल रहा था तो very nice. But it was not
yeah,
engaging enough. But her sister taking over was quite interesting वो बीच में when she stands up to everyone and she's smarter than all of them and she has her own life. That was quite cool.
I
And
liked
it
how
kind
she
of
played both
shows
sides, kind of thing.
how the society is. Like even her brother was kind of uh telling her to shut up and stuff, even though she had the knowledge to count.
Yeah, they were kind of
Every-
undermining her.
Everyone was
Yeah.
blatantly dismissive of the only smart person in the room, basically.
Mhm.
That's what you guys do to me.
Hmm.
No, no, but we do it correctly. Like correctly. We have a reason.
खुश रह कि ये रिकॉर्डिंग चल रही है मैं कुछ कह नहीं रहा
So,
हाँ
Anyway, meanwhile, we see Mirza and Christopher meeting all of Mirza's wife's relatives to get their signatures to relinquish them from making any claim to their property.
भाई
And click.
हम इंटरमिशन पहुंचे क्या अभी तक
Was there intermission in this movie? Then?
ओह अच्छा नहीं मेरे दिमाग में मैं सोच रहा था कितनी परसेंट मूवी हो चुकी है क्योंकि इसके बारे में बात करके फिर वो हो रही है बट
I have
हाँ
had multiple intermission sessions in the first 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and then like about 30 minutes already.
आकाश तो भूल गया है Amazon पे आई थी मैं इंटरमिशन नहीं
Yeah, there is no intermission in this.
ओह अच्छा अच्छा फिर आगे बोल
Acha, acha, acha. So click, click, click. A couple of scenes later, I'm fast forwarding now. The lawyer Christopher tells Mirza to get a signature from his wife to get the power of attorney in his name. Mirza obtains the thumbprints of his wife while she sleeps, but the next day he finds out he got the impressions from the wrong hand. Is that a thing? That you have to get it from the right hand only?
Yes.
क्या क्या मुझे समझ में
No,
नहीं
I've never given my fingerprint, like fingerprint impressions, thumbprint, and everything. You can only give it from like a specific hand. You can't give it from either. I've never had it done.
याद याद नहीं मैंने दिए 2-3 बार बट आई डोंट
No, standardly, you only do the right hand. I remember from my grandparents.
Hmm. I never knew that.
But if you think about it in India, like for some reason, the left hand is not used. We won't get
True,
into that.
true, true, true. Why, Kevin? We just talked about shit previously. We can talk about wiping your ass with the left hand.
But yeah, anyways, yeah, that's yeah, I think the right part is
I think maybe actually, yeah, it could be. Okay, anyway, so he returns back to the mansion to get the impressions again, but this time it looks like his wife understood what he was trying to do and maybe faked an injury so that Mirza could not take any of the signatures from her.
that's
Which
actually
then I
funniest
think
scene.
you get the inkling that oh this Begum Fatima Begum is very smart. She's onto him.
और ये बंदा
That is one
जिसने
of my
दिमाग
favorites.
नहीं है
Huh? What do you say, Amrit and Kevin?
I'm saying the other person she is smart but the other person is also not particularly bright at all
That's very true.
यार तुम उसको
But
मूवी का वो खत्म करने दो अदरवाइज जितनी की एक्चुअल मूवी थी उसे लंबे का ये हो जाएगा लेट हिम
that
फिनिश
is
फर्स्ट
the aim. We provide A1 content. Shujit Sarkar is also listening and taking tips from
या
our input.
दादा डोंट वरी हम भी नहीं सुनते हम क्या बोलते हैं
Why do you call him Dada?
अरे बंगाल में 2-3 साल रहने के बाद मैंने देखा रिस्पेक्ट के लिए सबको दादा बोलते हैं
इट्स अ कॉमन थिंग
Acha. Okay,
गांगुली को भी दादा इसलिए बोलते
या नॉट
that's
बिकॉज़
true.
ही वाज
I
हर्टेड
forgot
फॉर
about that. Okay, and again, fast forwarding some scenes later, we find that Mirza's wife has fallen ill, and we see Mirza preparing for a funeral already. I found this part funny, but he gets disappointed to see that she is recovering. This causes him to forge her signatures for him to get the power of attorney. So I was going to say eternity. My God, this movie feels like an eternity at times. But I like the scene where he's like buying all the cloth and everything for the funeral. He's but seeing all the
हैं
plots and everything. I thought it was pretty funny. He's already
या देयर वाज अ गुड शोइंग ऑफ के लाइक जब हमें सही में हमारा ग्रीड ओवरटेक कर लेगा तो यार हम किसी भी
yeah
हद तक करने को तैयार हैं वो ढंग से दिखाया दैट वाज अ गुड सीन बट अगेन इन द कॉन्टेक्स्ट ऑफ द मूवी बाय दैट टाइम यू आर लाइक भाई यू नो you know that he's greedy it's so obvious वो
Exactly.
कुछ बेचने को तैयार है तो like you essentially are waiting for the
And
point
Kya, Kevin? Were you going to say something?
no, I mean, I like the fact that he was trying to haggle the uh
Yeah. He put back
price.
the roses and everything. He said, "Itne nahi chahiye."
Yeah,
Okay, so now we're near the end. So then the shit starts to hit the fan. Kevin, that line was for you. As we find out that Ganesh's claims for compensation were false, and Mirza decides to sell the mansion to a wealthy builder. So the next day, Ganesh comes to the mansion asking all the tenants to vacate the place as they need to preserve the mansion's social and cultural contribution. And this expectedly causes an uproar as Banki and the other tenants argue with Ganesh about him misleading them because there is no alternative accommodation provided.
बेसिकली एक ही सीन में सबका कट जाता है essentially.
Straight away. At that moment, the builder does come. The builder also comes at that moment to inspect the mansion and decides that he will buy it. He provides money compensation to the tenants, but Mirza, seeing this, decides to stop it and tries to take the money for himself. And chaos ensues. During the chaos, we find out that Mirza's wife has gone, not died though, just ran away. She leaves Mirza a letter saying she has eloped with her old lover Abdul Rahman and has sold the property for 1 rupee to Mr. Abdul Rahman. I thought I'd give him some respect.
हाँ, इस पुरानी इतनी बड़ी बिल्डिंग के ओनर हो गए, वो 1 रुपए में मिली
Now,
है.
yeah, 1 rupee. So Abdul is the winner in this whole thing.
सही में.
Some guy we don't even see. I don't think in the movie.
आई थिंक भाई वो तेरे वही लंदन लंदन से ही था वो.
Yeah, there was a line na, that she was going to get married to him. She loved him, but
I
हम्म.
think वो
he
मतलब
wants
वो
living in
लखनऊ का था,
London.
but he moved to London as
Yeah,
हाँ.
and she
he
didn't want to
wanted.
leave the
Yeah.
house.
तू
And she
जानता है
wanted.
उनको? नहीं जानता?
No, no, no. I say too many Abduls man, in
ओह.
London. I don't know everyone there. I'm very popular otherwise, but otherwise
छोड़.
that way.
भाई भाई फास्ट फॉरवर्ड कर ले, शर्म आएगी. आगे चल.
Idiot. So we find out she knew about Mirza's greed and desire to have the mansion for himself. Now we see the mansion being vacated by everyone, vacated because, and everyone has been forced to move out, including Mirza. Though she does leave Mirza a small house along with his favorite chair. Sometime later, we see both Banke and Mirza living depressing lives, and they see a big celebration happening at the mansion. We find out that Mirza's ex-wife now, I guess, is celebrating her 95th birthday. So all the hopes of her, Amitabh Bachchan's character wishing her to die, she went on to be 95. And
और वो सब दरवाजे के बाहर खड़े होके बलून
yeah,
देख रहे हैं. एक बलून
and they're
मिल
all
गया
like
घर से.
outside. They're not allowed inside the mansion.
जब वो मूवी एंड हो रही थी, did you think the movie ended 3 different times? I thought it ended thrice. Then suddenly
Yeah,
another scene would come. Then एक
yeah.
और
Uh,
scene. Then
yeah, I guess they showed like Ayushmann Khurrana's character Banki and Mirza made their peace. I feel I think they were trying to show, but it didn't really feel that way.
भाई, whatever they were trying to show, somebody definitely understood it. I guess you guys understood it.
So wait, in the last
I
scene, we find out Mirza has sold the antique chair that Fatima Begum left for him for 250 rupees, and we see it go on sale at a store for 135,000 rupees,
एक लाख
and that's how
पैंतीस
it
हजार
ends.
में 250 की चीज बेच रहे हैं. शाबाश.
Very
but I,
true.
I
But
still don't
that
understand what is the
the
point of it
I think that was
that
supposed to
he's
be
a
some like symbolic thing, like symbolism.
Yeah.
But I don't
कि
I think
understand what.
throughout the movie, he ऐसा मुझे समझ में आया कि basically he was extremely naive. He had no clue like what he had, and still he was being greedy. So like be happy with what you have. I think मुझे वो लगा कि शायद वो शायद
I
देने का
think, yeah,
message.
I agree that he was not valuing the things he had. He was
Right.
he
Yeah.
didn't value much, which shows that he was ready to sell it for 250 rupees when the
Yeah, he
actual
was
thing
just
was
being
worth
greedy.
a lot.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Right.
greedy.
Even like for example, uh, he got उसको वहाँ उस mansion में रहने को मिला. For example, he was just trying to get the money out of it. He was trying to sell things वहाँ पे. So ऐसा मुझे समझ. I think that's what they were trying to show. ऐसा मुझे लगा.
वो ये
And
इंस्टेंट
but
ग्रेटिफिकेशन की बात थी ना, उसको अभी हाथ में उसको जीतना है, पर उसको पता ही नहीं था उसके हाथ में क्या है वाली बात. आई गेस.
Yeah. I think, and that was constant theme. सबके character, every single character except Begum, even the lawyer, Gyanesh, everyone was greedy, trying to get their own thing going. एक को अपने डिपार्टमेंट में जो भी हिस्टोरिक वो चाहिए था, दूसरे को अपने बिल्डर को प्रॉपर्टी बेचनी थी. So everyone was just trying to. It's a business end for them. So I think even for Ayushman Banke, even
yeah, I
they
think
had
that
eyes on the property, right? Like they never wanted to leave that place.
Yeah, they all were doing it for personal gain. No one was doing it for
Yeah,
anything other.
even for the I don't remember, I don't know if you remember कि वो बेगम का जो एंड में एक डायलॉग है, आयुष्मान ने अमिताभ उनसे पूछा कि 15 साल का डिफरेंस था तो शादी क्यों की बेगम ने आपसे, तो अमिताभ ने बोला कि क्या, बेसिकली आई वाज
Because I
यंग.
was young. Yeah.
Yeah, and Begum was also attached so much to his mansion से, like she stayed back instead of going to London. So everyone had their own personal reasons उस mansion के साथ. I think mansion was like in a way pillar. सब उसी के सब चिपके हुए थे उसके.
But doesn't it show that the fact that Ayushman and all the other tenants didn't want to move out of there? Like, I mean, kind of the
हाँ
fact
वही,
that they
like
did
even
love
they,
that place.
yeah, because they grew up वहाँ पे, उनको वहाँ पे रेंट कम पे करने को मिल रहा था. So even they had attachments, even they wanted to stay वहाँ पे. I think they did say it right in the beginning only कि वो उनकी भी आंखें हैं basically mansion पे, वो उसको
Yeah.
बेचना नहीं चाहते थे and everything.
No, but then I missed out some scenes here. Obviously, the sister scenes I missed out because they weren't like completely related to the story as much.
Oh
Mm-hmm.
wait, there is why I think I missed a point as well. I mean, they did agree to the promise that government made that
Yeah,
they'd get like
some
apartment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
I
guess
think
that is greed as well.
that's the element of social injustice भी, right, कि वो basically वो tenants हैं, so they still want a place to live in, so वो
but
भी एक angle था उसमें.
I felt one of the last scenes are very shitty. The girlfriend comes and meets Ayushman Khurrana with her husband for wheat and everything. That
Organic
is
wheat.
Organic
organic.
वाला,
It was
yeah.
so
What is
shitty, man.
what
I
is
felt
the
really bad.
point? There
But
is
yeah,
no
it didn't
point to
hit
it.
me. It didn't hit me as much because there was no build up with this relationship with him and this girlfriend.
Yeah, you just felt it was
Hmm.
an extra shot against
I
him.
just felt a little bad for him, but it didn't make me feel like, oh man, I'm really feeling for Ayushman Khurrana's character.
That now that you have finished the recap, that last statement you said, na, that sums up the movie. By the end, you don't particularly feel bad for anyone. It's
I
just
mean,
I
you
like
think,
could
yeah,
care
that was
less.
the missing point. Like उसमें कोई emotion नहीं था. Like we could not relate to कि अरे I strongly support him or not support him. Usually अगर वो होता है then you are engaged in the movie. इसमें
नहीं,
वो point नहीं था.
और
It was
भाई
just flowing.
इसी इंसान की मूवी से स्पेसिफिकली लाइक मैं बता रहा हूँ ना, मैंने इनकी लास्ट जो मूवीज थी, इट्स वेरी अनफेयर टू कंपेयर टू डिफरेंट, वो मैं समझ सकता हूँ, बट व्हाट स्पेशल अबाउट दिस पर्सन इज लाइक अक्टूबर इज अबाउट लिटरली दो या तीन लोगों की कहानी चल रही है पूरे टाइम, सेम थिंग विद पीकू, सेम थिंग विद वो, बट यू रियली आर रूटिंग फॉर वन पार्ट ऑफ द थिंग, राइट, विद दीज
Mm-hmm.
पीपल एंड देयर स्टोरीज. ये मूवी जब खत्म हो रही थी, आई वांटेड द मूवी टू फिनिश एंड बी लाइक
Exactly.
हाँ यार, इनके साथ बुरा हुआ है तो आई गेस it is what it is, but they kind of deserve everything that's happening to
Yeah.
The credit scene was one of the happiest moments.
them.
No, but
Wait,
like
what
in
credit scene? Oh, the pool. Oh, okay, I get it. Sorry. Oh my god.
Welcome to the party, Akash.
Yeah, that
but
was
but
so.
but again, like when you're talking about greed, right? There is a greed towards Begum as well, right? Because she married him just because she wanted the mansion to be taken care.
And very specifically, bhai, she suffers for it her whole life, but she has the brains to eventually escape. She gave away her youth and her prominence in life just because of the mansion. Thankfully, unlike these people who stuck to those worst part of the thing for their whole life, she manages to escape at the end so that she has some good years.
So
But
now does she live in London?
yeah,
That's why.
very clearly.
With some big shot, man.
Yeah. So wait, the was that the husband that comes along and pushes her in the wheelchair? The new
Yeah, yeah,
because he
Think
looked
so?
much younger than her.
yeah. I think in general,
So
Begum ke
would the
time mein,
auntie like to be dating younger guys? I'm
yeah,
just curious
clearly.
because he looked way younger than her.
I mean, even in
Yeah, I
movie
think
they showed Amitabh was 15 years younger than Begum.
Amitabh Bachchan looks even older than her because his character is
Yeah,
Yeah.
acted
that's the
that
thing.
way, which was very weird choice. Like he's got a hunched back, but I liked it. Amitabh Bachchan, I feel like is one of those actors. Like as the older he gets, he's actually trying different roles. Before, obviously,
Hmm.
at the time, there wasn't much
Yeah,
option. He was always the hero.
the thing Arnav said like शुरुआत में about Akshay Kumar, that no longer applies to him the same way. Na? He can do things जिसमें he, and especially in the streaming era, you are going to get good money from these places. तो
I think the one thing which worked out for this movie कि अच्छा है theater में release नहीं, because
Yeah.
this is meant for this streaming platforms. I don't think it's meant for a theatrical release. Otherwise, it would have been a disaster. People are paying some 500, 600 rupees in India. It would have been a huge disappointment उस way में.
no, but it had enough punch to pull in a basic एक दो हफ्ते का crowd, but it couldn't have sustained. Yes, I completely agree.
Because
So
there
my
was
next question.
yeah,
No, carry on, carry on. Keep going. Finish your
at
point.
least personally I could not relate to any characters emotionally. सब हाँ सबका सब ग्रे कैरेक्टर्स हैं, दैट्स अदरवाइज एटलीस्ट सारी अच्छी मूवीज जो मुझे पसंद आती हैं, आई एम रूटिंग फॉर वन एटलीस्ट वन कैरेक्टर. लाइक इधर आई फील बैड फॉर हिम और गुड फॉर हिम, समथिंग कोई इमोशन तो आता है. यहाँ पे कोई इमोशन ही नहीं आया एक्सेप्ट दैट
So,
ग्रीड एंगल व्हिच वी रियलाइज.
so I was going to ask what you liked and disliked, but we've already talked about it in a certain way. My feeling was that this movie was a bit confused about what it wanted to be. Like it felt like it wanted to be an artsy movie, but had these good comedy moments
सो
between the
आर्ट्स,
banter, like you were saying,
या
like
आई
the
थिंक वो
banter.
इंडी मूवी के लिए दिस इज परफेक्ट इंडी मूवी, बिकॉज इसमें आर्ट्सी मूवी में भी जोक्स होते हैं, ऐसी बात नहीं है,
No,
बट आई
no,
थिंक
yeah,
दैट्स व्हाई
but
आई थिंक इट्स मेंट फॉर दैट. आई डोंट थिंक इट्स
it
मेंट
felt
फॉर अ
like
कमर्शियल मूवी.
to me it felt like it wanted to be a serious movie, and then at times it wanted to be a comedy movie, which it wasn't a comedy. It didn't feel like the set pieces of the comedy type weren't funny. The banter
It didn't
between the
gain.
two wasn't funny.
Like you
It,
got to win something, right? If you're selling comedy, you need to win something in that angle. Or if you're sending like, okay, I want to bring a social point to the people, you got to do that. This movie was not doing either of
either.
them like
Yeah,
extraordinary.
I agree with that. Like
नो बट
it
डोंट यू
wasn't
थिंक कि
committed
उन्होंने
to one. I feel
काफी
like
अच्छा, आई मीन दे वर थ्रू आउट द मूवी दे वर कमिटेड टू द मैसेज ऑफ ग्रीड. लाइक दैट वाज प्रीटी कंसिस्टेंट हर बंदे के कैरेक्टर में. सो आई थिंक
It
दैट वे
was
इट वाज प्रीटी
see,
गुड.
it was
but
repetition, but you didn't see the character change in any way throughout the movie in any
या बट
sort. Like
आई डोंट थिंक एनी इंडी मूवी में होता है कि कैरेक्टर्स एटलीस्ट जितना मैंने लिमिटेड जितनी देखी है मूवीज, आई डोंट थिंक इंडी मूवीज में इट्स सपोज्ड टू बी लाइक दैट. आई थिंक वी
Yeah,
आर होपिंग
but
अ लॉट फ्रॉम हिज प्रीवियस मूवीज, इसलिए आई
no, no,
but
थिंक.
why
that
that's
exactly
why this
means that he's no longer an indie movie, na, then.
yeah. I don't think
Indie
it's a
movie
classified.
definition से you cannot have Amitabh Bachchan and Ayushmann Khurrana and have an indie movie.
नो सी
I don't
दैट्स द, अब वो अपना इंडियंस का प्रॉब्लम है कि वी लुक स्टार्स एज स्टार्स. स्टार्स आर एंड ऑफ द डे वो एक्टर्स हैं.
हाँ, हाँ, नहीं बट जो इंडी का एसेंशियल मीनिंग क्या है? इंडिपेंडेंट मूवीज, राइट? दिस इज अ मूवी विथ अ वेरी it's a very clearly a backed movie. Again,
No, no, I'm saying
even if
it's type of an indie movie. Like the way director has made it. It's not like कि
और
obviously उसमें अमिताभ बच्चन
हाँ,
है तो अपन कहते हैं कि अरे यार it's a
मान
cannot be
लेते
an
हैं
independent movie.
कि it's supposed to be morbid or dark as a supposed indie movie. Again, this person has made similar movies. What we are disappointed in is the fact कि इसी same चीज के साथ, इन्हीं same materials के साथ in the past he had पीकू में अमिताभ बच्चन and इरफान खान, यार come on, rest in peace. He had him and he had दीपिका पादुकोण in पीकू. विक्की डोनर
Sure.
में आयुष्मान था and अक्टूबर में वरुण धवन था, like who
Mm-hmm.
acted out of his head in a role similar to this. But
I
what
mean,
you,
if I think it's a disappointment if you compare, but if you अगर इस मूवी को separately देखोगे, it won't be a, it's still a disappointment, but not as much जितने
नहीं
तुम्हें
नहीं
लग रहा है.
नहीं, okay, if I remove the relative angle of it also, for me personally I would say that the first 30-40 minutes when the setup is happening, very much so you can say that there are अच्छा है ये, these are very interesting characters, but
Hmm.
beyond that it is the same repetition is how I felt.
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, no, no, that's true. I agree कि वो पे सेम चीज रिपीट हो रही थी थ्रू आउट द मूवी. इस मुझे भी
Because
लगा कि आई थिंक मे बी 20-25 मिनट थोड़ी छोटी होती ना मूवी, it would have been better,
Yeah,
because I think this movie lasted for 2 hours if I'm not
two
wrong.
hours a 90-minute movie
yeah.
would have been much better because then
Exactly, yeah.
you would remember more of the good parts. That's why जब आकाश से पूछा कि यार half time हो गया है नहीं, it is like because by this point the scenes you are getting towards the points of the movie where you're like, okay, I get it, he's greedy, I get both of them are greedy and stupid, पर तुम तब भी वही चीज दिखा रहे हो.
Yeah, I think
So
editing
I,
में they could have maybe done a better job.
I think it comes down to the point that it wasn't effective storytelling because none of us felt anything for these characters at the end of the day. Na?
at
You
all,
guys all said that you didn't feel much for the characters.
कुछ
A
भी
good
नहीं.
Yeah,
story is powerful.
personally, yeah.
a good story makes you feel for these characters. Like, oh, I want kind of understand Amitabh Bachchan's. In the beginning, it was there. Like I understand. Like I said before, I understand both of them are right in their own way. Uh, but then during the movie, I just lost that completely. I was like not interested in finding out like
Yeah, there
what is
was,
going.
for me there was no emotional connect. वो
Yeah,
disappointment था, except Begum. I was actually fascinated by Begum का character. वो बहुत कम दिखाया. I wish they could have given some backstory or some more
yeah.
उनको शायद
Some
dialogues या कुछ
flashback scenes
my
maybe.
personal thing. Yeah.
So where would you guys rank this out of the other Sujit Srikar movies? Like,
Yeah,
like the movies you know at least. There are some movies like he's done with M Night Shyamalan, which I don't even know. I
I
haven't
have
watched.
watched probably what movie? I've seen Vicky Donor, Piku and October, right? The movie जो
Yeah.
इन्होंने डायरेक्ट करी है, तो उसमें this would be number 4.
So last, bottom of the list for you of the movies you've watched.
Yeah, I have seen इसकी except October, Vicky Donor देखी है, Piku देखी है और मुझे कोई मूवी पता नहीं है
He
इनकी.
Madras Cafe,
was
Pink.
he even made Pink. Pink was, but he was producer, not the director. He has
Oh, I have
directed.
seen Pink as well.
He didn't direct Pink. I
No,
thought he
he did.
directed it.
No. He only produced and wrote Pink.
Oh yes, you're right. Produced and wrote.
But yeah, for my taste, I have to at least मेरे लिए भी वो नीचे लास्ट में आएगी, because obviously when अपन relatively देख रहे हैं अभी.
Hmm.
Kevin, you've seen Madras Cafe, Vicky Donor, Piku. You watched with me and
Definitely.
Arnav, I think. So definitely
Yeah,
last.
last.
Yeah,
Like I
I
said, credits. The credit scene should be the best scene of this.
yeah, I
Uh,
think last
भाई
as
सबका
well.
अपना
even
अपना रिएक्शन होता है, वही है, fair
yeah,
enough.
even Madras Cafe, I would say काफी मैं उसको लास्ट में रैंक करूंगा. I don't think it was any
Yeah,
better.
Madras Cafe I think is above this because at the time for me it was interesting. Like I don't remember anything of that movie right now,
Yeah,
and that kind of
nothing at
tells
all.
you that it wasn't a very like amazing movie. Like I remember Vicky Donor scenes, even though
Yeah,
I
we
watched it
remember
like
Piku
once,
के scenes, अपन को Vicky
and
Donor
Piku
याद है, but
scenes,
Madras Cafe I
they
don't
like
remember.
yeah the so that I talks a
No,
lot about
Madras
them.
Cafe was a good movie for people who
But
don't know the history of uh,
the Tamil
what
Tigers
happened
and
in
all.
Sri Lanka, Tamil Tigers, and why we of etc. We should not get into that. But it's an interesting movie for those people who don't know anything.
Quiet, you only liked it because John Abraham was there, and he probably took
Oh
off
That's
his
yeah.
shirt.
हाँ. Kevin dialogue मारना अभी.
Liar. Just
And
Kevin, say the dialogue for our listeners one time. The Manya Surve. Kevin, don't be shy, man. Come on, Kevin.
No, I can't do it now.
Kevin, ऐसे नहीं. Kevin, please, Kevin.
Screw you guys
Okay,
for
anyway.
putting me in spotlight.
So obviously we know you guys wouldn't. We've already talked about recommending it. So I'll move on to the next question. What did you guys think of it releasing on Amazon Prime? If it was in cinema and you like, obviously you didn't know, you just saw the trailer, would you have gone and watched it?
no.
Even from the not knowing, like,
Trailer. Okay, no. I think I'll change my answer. If I saw just the trailer, then and because of who it is, I would have gone and seen in the theater. Yeah, I would have
yeah,
actually.
I think that's the same for me. Arnav, Kevin?
Yeah, same. I would go for the
Yeah, I think movie देखने जाते हैं, but yeah, I would have retrospective. Yeah, it's good that it came out on Amazon.
I
But
just
you
really hope the ACs were awesome in that theater because I'll probably sleep. Guaranteed.
oh yeah, interesting fact. One time I took Kevin to watch Star Wars: Force Awakens. You know the Amit, you know it, na, and Arnav also knows it. The starting, the scroll comes text. It's just
PowerPoint presentation.
yeah. Arnav likes to call it PowerPoint. Kevin fell asleep in that second it started, and
When did you wake?
He woke up at the end when Kylo Ren and I can't remember her name. How do I not remember? Ray
That
are
doesn't
fighting.
matter.
Right at the last scene, he woke up. He said, "Kya hua?" He
Even I
actually
think
paid
San Diego में we went for Batman Superman, right? इसमें भी Kevin सो गया था.
that. Yeah, everyone fell asleep. Sid, Kevin, Julia. I think me
It
and you
was a
were only
crap
awake. Kevin.
movie.
I think
It
अपन
was a
दोनों ही थे
crap
सिर्फ.
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was a
Fucking
very
Ben
bad.
Affleck.
But Batman and Superman was सोने लायक, पता उतनी घटिया थी क्या वो?
अरे we
No,
went for
we were
some
also
late
exhausted.
night show.
We went for
अच्छा
jet skiing
वैसे।
and then we went.
हाँ, रात को भाई से उठने को मत बोलो अनलेस और कोई मोटिव है, वरना नहीं
Unless
उठेगा।
Purdue
Oh,
में,
screw
yeah,
you.
that's it.
Screw you guys.
कुछ नहीं। I think भाई
Uh,
और क्या सवाल है?
okay, so
Everyone has a craving for some.
do you guys actually prefer watching on Amazon Prime than going to the cinema?
हैं?
Which,
Would you
this
No,
particular
it depends
movie
on the
or in
movie.
general?
consuming, in general content? Do you prefer consuming content on the Amazon Prime or Netflix as compared to cinema?
अगर ये लोग हमें पैसे देंगे तो हम बोलेंगे वी प्रेफर वाचिंग ऑन नेटफ्लिक्स एंड अमेज़न प्राइम ओनली। बट
Thank you for that's for our sponsors, Netflix and Amazon Prime on this show.
Yeah, we love you.
भाई तुम
For
घर पे बैठ के बड़े स्क्रीन में कच्चे में बैठ के देखो, इससे अच्छा वहाँ कपड़े पहन के जाके देखना पड़ेगा।
So
कौन
do you
घर
prefer?
no, I
So
think
Amit,
it
you prefer
depends.
not going to cinema? Okay.
I mean superhero movies I would never watch at home.
Exactly. I was about to say that.
You're saying
Because
blockbuster movies you'd watch in cinema.
Yeah, if it's like something where I'm going for like okay, again for me recent past में it would only probably be like those Avenger movies when they came out. I was like अच्छा ठीक है, इनको मैं घर पे नहीं देख सकता, मुझे सेम डे थिएटर में देखनी है। ऑल्सो स्ट्रीमिंग का 1 मंथ डिले आता है तो then but otherwise the things I really like I stream.
like even hell, I feel horror movies also little. Some horror movies are a little better in the theater.
Yeah, no, horror movies are much better in the theater. At home, you can't get a feel at all for a horror movie because there's so many distractions happening and everything. That's what I feel
No,
personally.
in general, any content theater में better रहेगा. Like, even if you're watching a cricket match, just because of surround system, screen size, you're much more engaged उसमें for any content, good or bad. But yeah, I think blockbuster movies I still prefer. Like in Bollywood context, अभी कौन सी आ रही है movie वो some अक्षय कुमार की कोई movie आ रही है ना सूर्यवंशी और yeah
Oh yeah,
सूर्यवंशी.
yeah.
So
Cop
those
universe,
kind of
cop universe.
yeah, those kind of movies, I think I would prefer to watch in a theater. But yes, Gulabo Sitabo, yeah, October, for example, yeah, I think I would
I'm
prefer
sure
OTT.
we'll be reviewing Suryavanshi one time. So everyone, all of us will have to watch Suryavanshi. Kevin, I know you like all the Rohit Shetty movies.
But I think they have
It's
delayed
so
it, by
yeah.
the way.
They've delayed it. We should do a Rohit Shetty in review. Watch every single movie of his.
No
Golmaal,
way.
Golmaal 2, Golmaal 3,
M-
Golmaal 4,
m-
5,
मुझे
6, and then
रोहित शेट्टी
9.
बहुत पसंद.
I'll give Rohit Shetty this. He knows his audience and he plays to it completely. He doesn't hide the fact that
भाई you
trying to
don't
be.
need to give him this, the crores he gets, give him that understanding.
Yeah.
He knows what he's making, right? And it
उसको
works
I mean,
sometimes.
उसको
I
किसी
don't mind that genre, but I feel I don't like I don't like when people don't try new. So that doesn't inspire me in any way. But yeah,
Kevin,
Rohit
Hmm.
if
Shetty
you're
has a
getting,
formula he uses.
I
why
guess
वो
Singham
क्यों
7
try करेगा नया? He's
Yeah, I
getting
mean,
100 crores each movie. Even मैं कुछ
that's
try नहीं
true.
करूँगा नया.
he's
That's true. No,
yeah, that's he's looking at from the investment angle. Yes, he's definitely. But from an
obviously.
artsy perspective, if you think about it, it is still
But
lacking.
but
artsy people will end up broke, na bhai.
Oh,
Look at
that's the
that's
the
true.
thing.
look at
We've
the
always
movies.
said.
Look at the movies this guy makes. Golmaal series, Singham series, Bol Bachchan, Chennai Express, or Dilwale. Like sure, yes. Like why would you can say anything you want. They covered the budget and twice.
Oh, I
So
think his biggest franchise is Singham. I feel मुझे लगता है अब.
Singham, I think still his biggest hit is Chennai Expressway.
नहीं, I'm not talking
Oh
No.
in
God.
terms of numbers. Like I'm talking in terms of उसकी uh, best movie. I think is still Singham. I think जो Singham को जो उसको audience मिला है, he completely changed it. अब वो उसके बाद उसने सिम्बा बनाई ना, नहीं Singham 2 बनाई है, सिम्बा बनाई,
He's made
and now
Singham 2, Simba, and now
now
this.
सूर्यवंशी.
ये
So
उसका
No,
that
part
I
कैसा
probably will skip his movies. That's my
No, no.
personal choice, though.
You'll be
I'm not
watching
yeah,
it.
judging
fair.
his ability.
Suryavanshi in review. There's going to be a Rohit Shetty in review series
Wait,
we're going to
wait,
host.
wait, wait, wait. Suryavanshi is part of the Singham wo. Acha, no,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. It's a shared cop universe. Ranveer Singh, Ajay Devgan,
ये सिम्बा में कौन था ये?
Ranveer Singh.
Ranveer Singh.
शाबाश.
Okay, anyway, since Amrit, you mentioned budget, I think we'll talk. The budget of this movie was 40 to 45 crores, and Amazon bought it for 60 to 65 crores. So the producers and everyone made a 20 crore budget right there and then. Do you think it would have made a lot? Like,
यार मुझे
नहीं,
honestly
पहले तो
business
हफ्ते
पता नहीं है
चलती
इसका.
है.
First of all कि किसको कितने पैसे distribute होते हैं.
देख,
that
Just
we
because
don't
they've
know.
yeah.
when you give
Unless
it directly to a streaming
marketing costs,
platform, you earn much more. But उसमें तुम्हें royalty और वो सब कितना मिलता है वो बहुत
that is that. But
बहुत
marketing costs must be zero, close to zero at least. What marketing must they have done during this lockout?
nothing. Amazon I will अपने खुद के शो को वो करे. The day it released, especially lockdown का time क्योंकि चल रहा था, I think सुबह के अखबार में I think हिंदू के फर्स्ट पेज पे मैंने देखा था शायद इफ आई एम नॉट रॉन्ग और आई एम इमेजिनिंग इट आई एटलीस्ट सॉ इट न्यूज़ चैनल में एक दो बीच में कि गुलाबो सिताबो आ रही है I think. But mostly it was because Prime Video में full front cover का वो था.
I just know on Twitter that it was being advertised. Like all these celebrities were like doing that Gulabo Sitabo rhyme kind of thing.
शाबाश.
That's all I know. And I was going to say something else, but I can't remember that point. But do you think this like spells doom for the cinema halls, though? Like all,
Next 6 months are doomed for cinema halls in general because they won't
no,
be
like
allowed to probably open.
yeah, especially after this pandemic. Do you think that everyone will just switch to all producers?
No, bhai, I think there is a huge audience that still prefers to watch its movie there. We are part of a very less subsection which can consume this on like this. बाकी
True.
लोगों को उनकी बड़ी पिक्चर थिएटर में चाहिए होती है यार.
Yeah, but do you think if they're earning like good amount of money? I don't know. Like I have no idea. I think this movie is going to earn more money than it would have earned in theater. I feel that way because I don't think I think the drop off point for this movie would have been very early on.
Very early, correct. 2 weeks से ज़्यादा ढंग से नहीं चलती है. I don't
I
think.
don't think it would have gone.
Exactly.
But I
I feel
think
after
because
the
Ayushman has
Yeah,
अपना वो brand बना लिया है तो still hard to say कि कैसे perform
that,
करती है
No,
that's
no,
the
theater में.
connection,
that's why I said
connection of
first 2 weeks
word of
में
mouth.
Ayushman and Amitabh Bachchan can take you through 2 weeks very easily. उसके बाद ड्रॉप ऑफ पॉइंट आएगा ही आएगा बिकॉज दे वुड हैव कोइंसाइडेड विद सम अदर स्टार रिलीज एंड मूवी के
Sure,
रिव्यूज
yeah, yeah.
इनफ बाहर निकल चुके होंगे उस पॉइंट तक तो ये द फैंस जैसे आई वुड हैव गॉन फर्स्ट वीक टू सी इट बिकॉज आयुष्मान अमिताभ बच्चन एंड सुशील सरकार तो लाइक ऑब्वियसली आई एम गोइंग टू वॉच
So इसको actually reviews कैसे मिले? Has anyone seen इसके official reviews?
वेरी
Well, my friend Rajiv Masand, listener of the show, by the way,
हम्म और
gave
कुछ?
it two out of five,
हम्म
whoa.
which is for Rajiv Masand. I think that is a bit low.
वेरी लो भाई साहब यूजुअली बड़े वालों को तो 3 तो दे के जाते हैं
I mean, on Rotten Tomatoes, the critic rating was like 82, which was very surprising. Whereas the user rating was on like 60%.
That I have
Yeah,
no
and
idea. Rotten Tomatoes works on this Indian movies. I have no idea how much.
Yeah.
नहीं देख टाइम्स ऑफ इंडिया ने 3.5 दिए हैं इसको 5 में
That's a bit high.
न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स ने बोला
Yeah,
रेटिंग नहीं
definitely.
देंगे हम
yeah मुझे rating system समझ में नहीं आता but
नहीं
if I
it's
have to
very subjective ना like subject no
yeah
one में
Yeah,
करा
because I'm going to ask your rating in 2 minutes, basically. But I didn't get Arnav and Kevin. What was your opinion on this? Does it spell doom for these streaming services, movies releasing now, like we
मेरे
see?
लिए it's I think it will be end of the it has to be a hybrid model because both has its pros and cons. Even in US right now theater has still it draws huge number of यार वो audience. ऐसा नहीं है कि ये OTT आने के बाद
True.
theater की yeah numbers गिर गए हैं, they are struggling and all those things, but
I
hard
mean,
to
AMC's
imagine
gone out of business.
कि वो theaters will completely shut down.
नहीं because
I
Yeah,
mean,
this
from
it's a complete industry ना
Yeah.
no streaming, if I was running a movie and unless I know it's 100% hit, I mean, streaming is a safe way to go because like this movie, I don't think if it went to like if it went to theaters, it would make a huge profit. I still don't think I don't buy that. It has to cross that 40 crores point and then
वो
make a
तो यार
profit.
केविन आई थिंक वो तो बहुत इजीली हो जाता है आई डोंट थिंक
ब्रेक इवन
40
कर
करोड़
लेंगे
पॉइंट
because
इज
Kevin if
I
it goes
think,
to
yeah, it would
theaters
have.
they will them to buy the rights of the movie itself for a month minimum उनको उतना पे करना पड़ेगा across India. So
Okay.
that's where the risk falls on the theater owners in the theater system. Online में क्या है
Yeah,
वो आपको एक one time वो करेंगे and then the it is interesting कि the royalties how they play out.
true.
कि वो
सो उसमें
because
एक और मैं आई वाज वाचिंग किसी का इंटरव्यू भूल गया किसी प्रोड्यूसर बट सो दे वर सेइंग इट्स इंटरेस्टिंग बिकॉज़ इट डिपेंड्स ऑन द डील सो जो आकाश के नंबर्स दिए अभी 60 करोड़ फॉर Amazon उसमें Amazon ने उनके सैटेलाइट राइट्स भी बाय किए हैं या नहीं बिकॉज दैट मैटर्स अ लॉट बिकॉज सैटेलाइट गिव्स अ सेकंड रिलीज फॉर एनी मूवी राइट सो व्हेन आई से सैटेलाइट टेलीविजन इंडिया के स्टार नेटवर्क या जो भी network आते हैं बिकॉज इफ Amazon ने वो भी बाय किए हैं देन आई थिंक दे आर टेकिंग अ ह्यूज लॉस बिकॉज ये मूवी इमेजिन कर अभी बॉक्स ऑफिस में रिलीज होती विद इन फर्स्ट वीक इटसेल्फ इट वुड हैव अर्न 60 करोड़ इजीली इजीली just उनका जो स्टार पावर है उसके बेसिस पे दे वुड हैव फर्स्ट वीक में दे वुड हैव अर्न 60 करोड़ देन ऑब्वियसली डाउनफॉल आता बिकॉज ऑफ मे बी रिव्यूज या अदर मूवीज या जो भी रीजंस है एंड देन दे हैव सैटेलाइट राइट्स उसके बाद में सो definitely OTT पे अभी companies will be taking a loss, ये मेरा मान, but eventually they will figure out a business model जहाँ पे it might work out for them in long run. That's my opinion.
I know. I think I'll always be partial to going to the cinema because it's like an experience, going to the cinema,
Yeah.
sitting with everyone and just watching a movie. I like still going to that. I don't ever see it going away. Now this time is going to be testing it the most. So
अगर
we will.
इस कोविड के बाद अगर चेंजेस नहीं आए, राइट, देन
Mhm.
आई विल बी, आई थिंक बिकॉज दिस इज अ ह्यूज वो
Mm.
रोड ब्लॉक थिएटर्स के लिए. एनीवेज दे वर गोइंग डाउन, कोविड ने तो उनकी लिटरली 12 बजा दी अभी.
It'll be
सो
interesting to
इफ
see how they adapt to it
if
now.
they are able to recover it, then they will sustain. Next 6 months
That.
will decide उनका fate, I feel.
I mean,
But like
that's
we've
the
seen,
case for a lot of business.
True.
major directors are coming to Netflix and all. Like Martin Scorsese releasing a movie on Netflix straight, The Irishman. It was a huge deal, I remember. So
Yeah,
I'm
even I
sure.
think few days back, Disney has announced some 4-5 big Bollywood movies वो Disney Plus और Hotstar platform. This happened I think 2 days back, right? जिसमें
Oh,
I
I
think
didn't know
एक
that.
आलिया भट्ट की मूवी है, एक अभिषेक बच्चन की मूवी है, अक्षय कुमार, वरुण धवन,
Oh,
इन
it's like
सब
a
की
TV
मूवीज अब.
series for Abhishek Bachchan now or something.
No idea, no idea.
I can't.
Some
I heard
content इन
about.
सब का.
Yeah.
So Abhishek, Alia Bhatt, because now she's a huge star at least in India. अक्षय कुमार obviously. तो इन सब की मूवीज अब उस पे रिलीज कर रही हैं डिज्नी और हॉटस्टार पे. So theater definitely is taking a huge hit right now. It will be interesting to see कि क्या changes आते हैं.
We shall see. Okay, and what actually I forgot to mention one point about this movie. Actually, this movie, when I was watching it, I kind of missed Too Hot to Handle sometimes.
क्या?
Yeah.
I missed Too Hot to Handle. The stupidness and like the excitedness of all these people. It would have been more interesting to me to watch
क्योंकि
actually.
ये गुलाबो सिताबो में स्टुपिडिटी वाज एक्टिंग, वो दूसरे वाले में एक्चुअली स्टूपिड थे.
Maybe that was there, and it was
No,
more
no,
going
Too
on.
Hot to Handle did was kind of lost of what it was. I don't know. That's my
Kevin,
perspective.
Kevin, you got cut off in at least from me. Can you just
Yeah.
repeat
No,
what
no.
you were saying?
I said Too Hot to Handle was kind of it stuck to its point. It is stupid. It's not so trying to be smart in any way.
Oh, I was trying to make a joke,
Whereas
Kevin, pretty seriously.
I don't know, but like I feel this movie was lost. Like it didn't know what it was supposed to do. Or
Okay, then finally with that, I'm gonna ask you guys to give a rating out of 5. Arnav, you said you didn't know how to rate it, so I'm putting you
Yeah,
on the spot. Out of 5,
fuck
what
you.
would you give it on your own rating system? Out of 5, if you had to rate it,
नहीं यार, मुझे नहीं समझ में आता. No idea how it works.
you'll have to
Let's
give.
start
I'll
with
come back
Kevin.
to you. Kevin,
I
you
mean,
go
on your
ahead.
preference, I'm rating based on my preference and what I
Yes,
saw in this movie
you
and what
personally
my
for your
expectations were. I would give it 2.5
2.5. Okay,
as an
Same,
Amrit.
average.
Yeah,
Amrit,
same. I would say I was
I
going
would
to
have
say
given.
ढाई. Nothing more
I
than
would
that.
give 2. I wouldn't have given 2.5. I think 2 is fine with it because I expected much more from a Sujit Sarkar movie.
that's your
Honestly,
problem, right? उसकी
yeah,
problem थोड़ी ना.
that's personally from my.
That's his personal rating. अंकल को तो पैसे मिल गए उनके.
Yeah, no,
No, no, I'm
he
rating based on all the all the crap that comes out of Bollywood. On that basis, I would give it 2.5 at
how
least
dare
because
you
well,
call Rohit Shetty movie crap?
Actually,
I'm
that's a
gonna
good point. I mean, if you compare it to a whole Bollywood का वो, I have to give it 2.5 या 3.
So, what are you comparing it to in Bollywood? Like, what movies? Student of the Year. You guys are crazy. We watched that in cinema all together.
या यार वो हाउसफुल, ये स्टूडेंट ऑफ द ईयर, ये गुड न्यूज, ये सारी जो कचरा मूवीज आती
What rubbish!
हैं.
Student of the Year. Amrit Khan couldn't stop singing the Ishq Wala Love for like 3 days because he was
लड़की के
so
बारे
obsessed.
में सोच के गा रहा था ना, पिक्चर अच्छी थी इसलिए थोड़ा ना गा रहा था.
अच्छा,
who's
अब
okay,
the
you
लड़की
get
मिल गई तो गाना खत्म.
वो तो पुरानी चीज है.
I was gonna say that's a very sad thing. If Lucky Milgi, he doesn't sing it
who's the
anymore.
who's that old actor like who used to make all these controversial statements online? Small time actor.
Ooh, re-
He used to
Kangana.
do reviews as well.
What? What?
KRK की बात कर रहे हो क्या दुख
KRK,
का?
KRK, man.
Ah, KRK is a
वो
legend. His movie
irrelevant
was
हो. It says bad things to everyone. इसे कोई पसंद नहीं है.
his movie was great. Okay, with that, I'm going to end the show with that on
Right.
KRK. because he is too inspirational. Okay,
Nice.
That's a
so
bright
thanks
note.
everyone. Yeah. Thanks everyone
You
for
should-
listening to this episode of our podcast. You can listen to our intellectually stimulating discussions on nearly all podcast services available, including Apple, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. We hope to catch you on the next episode where we will be talking about Bulbul, a horror movie, which was recommended by Amrit and Kevin, or maybe it was just Amrit, or maybe it was just Kevin. It's one of those two.
मैंने देख लिया है.
They've
तुम
already watched it, so that's I get that's why we're covering it.
yes. ये होती है
It
हमारी प्री प्रोडक्शन
yep.
डिस्कशंस.
It's available on Netflix. Until next time, stay safe and wash those hands.
क्या?
Peace out.
चुप है. हाथ
Okay.
धो लीजिए.